What's up, guys? Welcome to Sports Spectrum. I am Jason Romano, and today's the day. We've been telling you about this big announcement that we've been ready to make for a couple of weeks, and today, November 5th, 2024, we are ready to make that announcement. But before we do, I just want to say thank you to all of you who've listened and invested into the Sports Spectrum podcast. I get notes all the time from you on social media, even some emails, occasionally even texts or calls about some of the guests and some of the conversations that we've had here on Sports Spectrum. And it's been a blast. It really has. It's been 7+ years since we launched this podcast on March 31st. 2017. I had no idea what I was doing back then. I was just a few months removed from ESPN and really kind of nervous and scared because I hadn't hosted anything for so long. My background is in production. And so to be able to be a part of a show that's now reached over 6 million downloads and so many more in the different platforms and places that we've shared Sports Spectrum's conversations, man, it's been a blessing and an honor for me to be a part of this. And I'm going to continue to be a part of this, but we have a big announcement today that is really about taking Sports Spectrum to hopefully a different place and another level, if you will, because I've kind of been on my own for the last 7.5 years. And certainly we've had some great teammates and some people along the ride that have been just incredible blessings for me, and even a couple fill-in hosts here and there. But today we're going to announce something big, and I am in Chicago, Illinois, standing on the shoulders of so many people who've been a part of Sports Spectrum since 1985. And 1985 happens to be the year that the guy next to me was also born. He played in the NFL for 10 years. He is a 2-time Pro Bowler, 8 years with the Bears, 2 years with the New York Jets. Here's our big announcement. We are excited to welcome Matt Forte as our pro athlete voice on Sports Spectrum's podcast. What is up, buddy?
Man, I'm doing well. And, man, I just want to say thank you for what you've built with standing on the shoulders of those that came before us. And I stand on your shoulders, bro. 7 years is a long time to invest in something, and you've done a great job of doing that. You're going to continue to do that with me as well. But it's been a pleasure to be a part of this and to continue to take it, like you said, to the next level.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of questions that we can kind of get into on why, and we'll do all that in a second. But this is my hope and my prayer is welcoming you into this isn't just, okay, let's bring Matt Forte in and bring an NFL player or whatever. I think this is something, whether you played in the NFL or not, you have a passion for the Lord and you have a passion for sports. Obviously, we're here in just so people can understand, we're in your workout area and there's helmets and jerseys. So sports is everywhere when you come into the Matt Forte home. But at the same time, your love of intersecting those, like seeing sports as a vehicle, as a platform to share the gospel. That's something that can probably stem all the way back to when you played, but to be able to use this platform of Sports Spectrum is pretty cool.
Absolutely. I think for me, it came when I recognized how much sports is a platform to exhibit not only the gifts and the talent that the Lord has blessed you with, that blessed me with, that when we develop them, it reaches so many people that when you have the word in you and you can, share the gospel with that same platform, with that same talent and ability, it transcends the game. And that's what we all are aiming and really wanting to do, is that it's not about the notoriety from playing football or any other pro sport. It's not about the gifts and the things that you may get on the outside, off the field, or the money you make and all the kind of materialistic things. It's really about being able to have this platform that the Lord has given me and being able to intersect how does sports and faith really come together and how the Lord has made it and purposed it that way that, it's really a lot of the what goes into sports and pro sports really transfers over into life, like the hardships. Like when you play a game, it never goes the way you plan it it's going to go in your head. But there's times where you have to fight through the difficulties or the temptations of things, just like in life where there's persecution or, trauma that you go through. So it is definitely a major platform that will be able to transcend the sport in a way that touches so many people's lives, in a way that will internally transform them, not just provide some kind of entertainment for them. So that's why this platform is huge, and it's my pleasure to be able to be on it and to do a lot of this with you as well.
It's kind of crazy that media, because media gets a bad rap, I think. but some of it's justified. And you've dealt with media. You dealt with Chicago media. You dealt with New York media.
Yeah.
So you dealt with media. Not you weren't hiding in Green Bay or something like that. You were in Chicago and New York. But now you get to kind of play a role, and you've done media post-playing career, but you get to kind of be in the media space, but in a completely different way. That's how I've seen it for the last 7+ years. Is I'm working in media, but this is ministry and an opportunity to share the gospel and use, the athletes and coaches and an opportunity for them to share their story of Jesus and not just talk about what that game was like the other day. But it's media. It's kind of fascinating, right? To have it be media, but it's really not. It is, but it isn't.
Yeah, I mean, I like the term media ministry.
Media ministry.
It sounds
That's right.
good, and I mean that's what our goal is. That's what we are here to do. It wasn't just to be on the field and to, like you said, talk about the game. It's what is powering that. What's empowering the stuff that's behind you. So, and that goes for every professional, anything that you do, whether it be sports or you're a lawyer, a doctor, or whatever. We're God has placed us strategically in where we are to infiltrate what that is and to be a light within it. So if it's the media, media gets a bad rap and a bad connotation
Sure.
when you say that word.
Yeah.
But when you talk about media from our side, from our perspective, it's really a media ministry where we're here to infiltrate the negative aspects of media, where it's always sensationalizing the bad things and the
Right.
negative stuff, where we bring light to people's story, where some of the hardships that they have gone through have become such a factor that has developed them in a way that makes them better now, and speaks towards something that someone may have gone through in the past, and that gives them hope for the future.
Yeah, and what's really neat is these athletes who never get to be asked by the media about Jesus. I'm guessing in your 10 years, the mainstream media wasn't coming up to you with a microphone saying, "Tell me about your faith in Jesus." You might have worked it in, which I know you did. In fact, we've had you on a couple months ago when we talked about that opening game when you had a chance to point to Jesus on NBC, Sunday Night Football, in the first game you ever played. But most media members aren't asking this question about Jesus. And that's what I love what we get to do. Like this honor that you're going to get to do now alongside me is to be able to ask these guys about Jesus. I just think, and they light up.
Yeah, I mean it's our honor and privilege to be able to do that. The fact that the Lord gives us a platform and we are able to use sports, because if we're going to be real about it, like sports is going to use you. It'll use you
Totally.
up.
Yes, it will.
And when it's done, it'll chew you up and spit you out. But we have an advocate in the fact that we get to use sports in order to promote the name of Jesus and ask other players about something that is not the normal thing that they get asked, and to represent something that they represent as well as their faith in Jesus Christ. So it's an honor and a privilege to be able to do that, and we don't, and we shouldn't ever take it for granted.
No, we shouldn't. I tell you, in 7 years of being a part of Sports Spectrum, there's been very few days when I don't wake up and say, "God, are you really allowing me to do this today?" And now that I get to do it with you is even cooler. Let's talk about Sports Spectrum for a minute, Matt, because it's been around since '85. I probably didn't hear about it until 2011 or 12 at ESPN. Somebody sent me a magazine, and I remember it had the New York Giants players on the cover from 2011 when they won the Super Bowl, and there was talking about their faith. And I said, "Wait, this exists?" And I became really curious about it. I certainly didn't think I'd ever work for Sports Spectrum. But then I came along in 2017. I think I met you because Sports Spectrum is owned by Pro Athletes Outreach. And so I'm curious for you, when did you first hear about or learn about Sports Spectrum?
That same year, 2017, through PAO, because I've always gone to the conferences, and me and my wife are heavily invested in that while playing. But then also now, I mean, we work within PAO as well.
Yes, you are on the ministry board with us, so it's cool to do that too.
So not just media ministry, but pro athlete ministry as well. So that's when we first heard about it. But I thought it was so cool because it reminded me of Sports Illustrated, and when I was young and growing up, sports has always been intriguing in my draw, or the draw to me to play it and stuff. So like the Sports Illustrated magazines, that's how actually some of my teachers would get me to read is let's read about sports.
Same here.
And I didn't want to read all the other books. They were boring to me, and that got me to read. And so when I started looking at how Sports Spectrum had the magazine and it was faith stories and testimonies on there, I was like, this is amazing, because I started thinking about my children. Like, not only will it allow them to be interested in sports, but to read and understand how life through sports is lived, like some of what their dad did that they got to witness, but then also the driving force behind that, the solid foundation, which is Jesus Christ behind that. And it's not just me, it's many different people's stories, but that same consistent foundation of Jesus Christ in it. So
Yes.
that is what I thought was so cool about it, and what really drew me to be able to want to be on this platform and continue it.
If people want to go back to the archives of 2018, they could actually find a podcast that you and I did announcing your retirement with Sports Spectrum. So even back then, I knew that Sports Spectrum had got a grip on you a little bit to just say, okay, this platform's important, because you made an announcement, and that's a big announcement. Like anybody that retires from pro sports after 10 years, now especially the way social media is, and they're putting out their statements and all that. You did some of that, but you used the platform of Sports Spectrum to be able to do that.
Yeah, I wanted to be, and I didn't even know at the time if anyone had used Sports Spectrum first to do that. And it occurred to me at that time, I was much more mature in my faith than when I first started in the NFL.
Sure.
And I was like, man, this is a great way to be salt and light, and to use the media for this aspect in a positive way, where they always get first dibs. They come in, they're in the locker room, you're required to talk to them right after the game, and this and that is like, well, for me to tell the media and a large network like an ESPN or NFL network that I'm retiring first, I don't think that's right. Like, the Lord has seen me throughout my career the entire time, has really blessed me, kept me safe from a lot of, debilitating injuries and things like that. But I wanted to use Sports Spectrum as that platform and that launching pad, not just, it's retirement, but the launch to the next thing, the launch that transcends the sport, like we talked about earlier, that makes it so much more worth using this platform, is to reach so many other people and to really hone in on what was the driving force behind a decade worth of professional sports in the NFL, which is, the Lord covering me that whole time and developing me through that. And so it was a simple decision to do that with Sports Spectrum, and I was just glad that platform was there to be able to do that.
And it's kind of cool to look back, because it's 6 years, to think about who knew the Lord was opening up the doors that he's opened up for us to be doing what we're doing literally right now in talking, but also preparing to work together. And I do want to explain to people who are listening, they might be like, well, what's this next venture of Sports Spectrum going to look like? Well, it's going to continue to be very similar to what we've heard. It's going to be a couple episodes a week. Matt's going to be doing a lot of the interviewing and hosting. I will still be a part of it. You'll hear my voice. You'll hear me doing a lot, and I'm going to be doing a lot of producing behind the scenes as well with Matt. So
it's my wise counsel.
Wise counsel.
He'll be my. I always say this is my wise counsel on the podcast. Everybody needs wise counsel.
That's right.
It's wise to have that. And so with you being on there, man, it's like you have a lot of the intricate details of the guests that we'll have on.
Yep.
And sometimes, I played football for 10 years. Sometimes I forget stuff. So if I forget a question.
Well, I'm getting old too, where I'm forgetting stuff. So you and I are going to be helping each other. Yeah. But yeah, my job, I want to do the best that I can to make you look good, if you will, but also to make the name of Jesus look great. And, part of that is just the work that we've been doing. And I will say, people, hopefully you guys, if you're listening right now, because it's November 5th, Matt's first interview is going to be in a couple days on November 8th. It's not like we're just throwing him to the fire. Like, we've spent the last couple months doing some interviews. It's almost like a preseason in a training camp, right? Getting the reps, getting ready here. And by the way, if you're also wondering, is this just going to be a football show? No, Sports Spectrum's podcast is going to continue to talk to people outside of football. There certainly will be a focus on football, with Matt being a former NFL player. But I happened to work for a show back in the day called Mike and Mike, and it had a guy named Mike Golick on it. And Mike was a former NFL player, but Mike and Mike talked to a lot of different athletes in a lot of different sports. And my goal is to do something similar, I think. And that's what you want to do too. I mean, you love the NFL and love your fellow brethren in the football world, but you want to talk to Olympians and baseball players and basketball. You want to talk to everybody, right?
Yeah. Faith is universal. It's not just one sport, and everybody. That's the one thing that's cool about it is that no matter what you do, whether it's sports or not, and then within sports, whether it's baseball, basketball, football, hockey, archery, whatever it be, Olympian or whatever, everyone, that's on there has some kind of testimony of how the Lord has been working in their life, and how He has brought them through something. And if that's you, and or maybe it's not you, then keep living. That's what my pastors always say. If you haven't incurred any trial or tribulation yet, just keep living.
Just wait.
But so it's a great platform to provide that hope, that if we didn't have that foundational hope in Jesus, then we'd all be lost. And so we are definitely looking forward to interviewing so many different types of personalities, characters, but also within sports, so many different types of nuances within sports and the challenges that come with that. So not just this overarching story of, oh, Jesus is great and it's cool. It's like, no, there's a lot of different challenges that you may not know about in the locker room, on the field, and at home as well.
Yeah, and when we say sports, I mean, people who've listened to this show know, we sometimes talk to authors, pastors, anybody that's in the realm of sports. This is what I'm really excited about, because I can only reach out to so many people and get them to come on, and we've been fortunate and blessed to get a lot of them on. But I'm really excited to see bringing you on, like, who are some of the people that I haven't even thought about talking to that you might want to talk to. I'll actually pose that question to you right now. Is there a couple people, let's just put them on the spot, so if they hear this, they can be like, oh, I got to come on with Matt, that you really want to talk to, that we either have never talked to, or just people that you have never talked to that maybe we've had on the show?
Yeah, I'd love to have people from the entertainment business, whether it be hip hop or R&B, like whatever,
Or movie, actors,
movies,
actresses.
actresses. Because I mean, for the most part, a lot of people play sports growing up, or some sort of sport. Now, you may not have gone pro, but you've
Or
probably
they're
been
sports fans, right?
or sports fan, and so you probably have some kind of story of, I used to do this or do that, but I'm gonna put my man KB on the spot, who is a Christian hip hop artist, but is really a preacher. He preaches the word in sermons, but also in his music as well. So he ain't text me back the other day, but I'm gonna put him on the spot. I know he's a busy man.
Welcome to my world for the last 7 years. He didn't text you back?
Oh, I know how it is. People answer DMs more than they do text messages these days. But
yeah, it's really interesting.
But no, like interviewing many different types of people that just to show the broad and vast diversity of Jesus Christ in this world, and how his main story of salvation for us is woven within everybody's story, no matter what you do and who you are.
Yeah. So I'll give you 2 names that were on my bucket list. But now that you're here, maybe it can become our bucket list. Certainly Tim Tebow. We haven't had Tim on in 7 years, and I think he'd be really interesting to talk to, because he's very much still out there preaching. He's at conferences and talking about the name of Jesus. He's never wavered from that, but also still in the media, and certainly his career is what it was. And then Stephen Curry. And Steph's been a guy he's a legend. He's the greatest shooter of all time. And he's been very vocal about his faith as well. And faith in the NBA is, we've had a couple NBA guys that both of us have talked to already that'll be coming up soon. It's just a different animal. And I think it would be really interesting to talk to somebody like Steph, who's like so, famous, if you want to call it that, or so out there as such a big name. He's recognizable everywhere he goes. And just hear how he stays grounded.
Yeah. That definitely would be interesting, and I think the Lord providentially will make that happen.
That's right. Yeah, we want to follow what the Lord wants here too, not just what we want.
Yeah, we've interviewed a few guys in the NBA, and what was said, one of the things is that they were envious of football, because it seems like more of a brotherhood when it comes to not just the sport, but also the faith aspect within the sport.
Yes.
And who knows, maybe the Lord has revival set up. Sparked off by Sports Spectrum podcast with Steph Curry.
Let's go.
Steph, we're coming for you.
Yeah, we're coming for you, number 30. I know the season's about to start, or has started, I guess, already, but Let's go. All right. So before I say goodbye and we just thank you again, I had to go do this. So this is hard to find on eBay, but I went and found.
Oh, that's the original.
This is the original. This is the Reebok one. Reebok isn't even the maker. I found a Matt Forte jersey. I'm going to put this puppy on right now. And I just want people to know this is how excited I am that I went and bought a Matt Forte jersey on eBay. And I'm going to be rocking this for a lot of these podcasts because I am honored, my friend, to be a part of this with you and excited to see where God takes it, man. And by the way, this is OG jersey.
OG.
This is like 2009, 2008.
2008, yeah.
So
yeah.
it's got the equipment NFL thing here. So I'm excited, brother. Welcome to the Sports Spectrum family.
Man, thank you. It's my honor and pleasure to be doing this. And, I just want all the fans out there, as he put on that jersey to recognize that, we're all putting on that number one jersey with Jesus Christ on the back, because that's
right.
what it's all about, really. So, that was a good, kind of analogy of what we're going to be doing. So
we're going to be putting on a different uniform for sure.
Right. That's right.
Well, great to have you, my brother. I appreciate
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Thanks for listening to everybody. We're excited to see where this is going to go. And Matt is here. So let's go Sports Spectrum. Here we go.